Hello, everyone, and welcome to Unboxing Umbraco. This time it's a little bit of another special episode. It's the first one of the new year, and we've got no less than two minor releases released today. Umbraco 11.1, the first minor release for Umbraco 11, and Umbraco 10.4, the last planned minor release for Umbraco 10 is out. And here to help me take a look at these magnificent new releases are two of my very good colleagues from the DevRel team, developer advocates Sebastian Jansen and Warren Buckley. Welcome.
Hello.
And Thank you for joining me today.
Happy New Year.
So you too. It's I mentioned it's a little bit of a special thing with two minor releases in one day. And some people might be asking why we're doing that. Do you have any good insight on why this is happening?
Because we're just following our release cadence. No, so we have 10.4 is basically what 11.1 is as well. When we released 10.3 RC, we included the block grid editor and concluded at the time that still had a lot of work to do to make the block grid editor a lot better. So we pulled it out of the final version of 10.3 and moved that to 10.4. And that just happened to coincide with the release of 11.1 as well. So the releases, both 11.1 and 10.4, are very, very similar, actually. And all of the changes in them are almost exactly the same between each version. So.
Yeah, I guess you could say there's feature parity right now between
there is very much feature parity,
the LTS release and the latest version of Umbraco, right? So so that's quite nice. Just as a little side note,
commit not in 10.4, that is in 11.1, and that was for the new for the old packages repository. Because that doesn't exist in 11 anymore. That's the new marketplace now. So there's only one commit difference between the two, basically.
Yeah, that's amazing. Nice work. Sounds really good. And just as a little side note, this is not going to be a trend that we're continuing. We are focusing all feature development and improvements to on Umbraco 11 as part of our release policy. But of course, we will support Umbraco 10, the LTS release, with the bug fixes and so forth as soon as that makes sense. And then I think that there might also be a few features for things like the block grid that we want to add to 10 if and when they become available. But there's no promises on that side of things, I guess you could say.
Yeah, 10.4 is the last planned 10 minor release. Sorry.
Yeah.
And from now on, it should be only patches unless we have something that needs to be minor.
Yeah. But then we'll let you know in due time.
It's not on a schedule yet. So.
Yeah. I guess it's also worth mentioning that this is, I think, for the last many unboxing episodes, we've mentioned that this is quite a small release. And that's what people really like. There's not that much to contend with. Upgrades are easy and stuff like that. And I think upgrades are still very easy for this one. But it is actually quite a big release. I think 10.4 has 116 features and fixes in it. And 11.1 a little bit less, but pretty much the same there. And part of that is because we had a long release candidate period for Umbraco 11. That was 6 weeks as opposed to the normal 2 weeks. And that luckily coincided with the Hacktoberfest as well. So you were busy looking at all the pull requests coming in there, Sebastian, but couldn't get them in until the next minor release, I guess, right?
Oh, so 11.0 RC was already out. So anything that wasn't in there was pushed to 11.1 instead. So that was a lot. So many different contributions. It's really great.
Indeed. Okay, but we've got quite a few demos lined up, so I think we should just get to it.
Yes.
And I am first up here. I'm just going to spin up my little demo site, and I'm going to use .NET Watch because you told me to, which has some nice icons. And also the benefit of, we'll see how it works out. but it does start up my browser immediately, which is really nice. I don't have to control click the link in the CLI. So let me just get into the back office here. The first thing we're going to look at is the improvements made to the media picker. Let's see, there we are. So I think this was actually a request that came in through some clients on Umbraco Hardcore. But what they really would like to see is when you have a media picker on your site, you can see we have to, let me just remove the image here. So I've added 2 media pickers to this content page. So one is the old legacy media picker, and the other one is the improved V3 media picker here. And what's been added is drag and drop functionality. Now, we already had some drag and drop functionality within, like when you actually open up the add dialog, but now you can actually just drag. Can you see when I'm dragging the image here?
Yep. Yes.
Good. So when I drag my image in here, you can see that it actually accepts it. And in the old one, nothing happens. It would just open up the image in the browser and everything would be lost. So, and now you get a nice drag and drop field here. And if I put that, see, it's selected here. And when I publish it, it's uploaded to the media library. Really nice little.
Excellent.
Little improvement here. And
so where is that put here? Is it at the root or?
It is put at the root. So you can see when I go to the media library here, on the media section, I see the image. It's uploaded to the root. Now, that might not be the best place to shove all the images. If this is something you become a fan of, you might end up with quite a lot of media items in the root of your of the media section. Not always the best case. You can always go in and clean it up, but that can be a little bit annoying. So what you can do is on the media picker, we can configure it to have a different. Just get the right one here. Configure it to have a start node. So if I go in and update my data type here, and we add a start node to it, and I select my sample images folder, submit.
So here's why we might regret doing .NET Watch. It might start.
Oh yeah, because it's rebuilding the models. Yeah, this usually doesn't happen.
I think it might go into a recompile loop right now.
Okay, great. Well, there's a little learning.
Do .NET
live learning.
Run instead.
Yeah, I'll just do that if I can. Actually,
so that happens when you start updating document types and the models builder. Drops new updates in the models folder, which is a C# file, which then .NET says, "Hey, I need to compile this," and then it keeps going for some reason. So
yeah. Let's see if this works now. There we are. So if the change actually took, let's just save this one. And I grab another image here. Let's take the block group editor
multiple images.
That's a good question. More live. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh yes. No, it's configured to only accept
well, it's got a maximum,
so,
but that's good. That
you but you can. Yeah.
Nice.
Let's see. Uploaded that one, and now if we go to the media section, there's no image in the root, but in my samples folder, we've got the new media item.
Perfect.
Nice.
Just a really nice little improvement of live feature that's been added there. So nice work to the front end team on that one. And I think that's it regarding the media picker, at least. So next thing up, I think, Born, you have a little demo for us concerning the tags editor.
Yep. So tags. Let me log in first, and then it'll be easier to talk about what I'm going to show. So here I've got 11.1, and I've got the example block grid starter kit site installed. And in here for cards, I've added a new tags property type to my element type, which is in the block list or the block grid in this case. But previously, you would get a warning or an error to say that, no, you can't do that. So this is just now to say that, look, so previously you would get this little red message saying, tags you couldn't use in block list or block grid or nested content, which obviously is now getting deprecated. So move to block list or block grid. So yeah, that is tags in a nutshell. A very simple thing, but it just shows that now we're supporting more of these data types that wasn't allowed previously back into the block grid. So yeah, nice and simple demo, this one. Just wanted to show the previous and kind of like how it works now. So I can add, I don't know, unboxing as a tag if I could type.
I believe that's spelled with an umlaut.
An umlaut, yes. Unboxing, yeah. And then you can see in my preview, it's here. So yeah.
Yeah.
This is not just for block grid editor, but this is also for the block list editor.
Yeah, block grid, block list, and nested content. But nested content, we would recommend that you go to block list or block grid.
Yeah, I guess it's for element types, right? In general.
So it's for element types.
That's where the So anything that uses element type should be able to use the tag section.
That's the one. So
very nice.
I will hand it over. I think it's back to you, Rune. Actually, do you want to show something to do with blocks as well? Don't you? If I can remember.
I'd like to, yes.
If I can stop sharing my screen.
Right. So speaking of element types and blocks and deprecating nested content, one of the features that people have been talking quite a lot about for the block list editor specifically is the ability to have a single item mode. So let me just I'm just going to add it to my home type here, but I'm going to go in and add a new property. Let's call it blocks. And we'll add a block list editor to this one. Let's see. We got one ready here. Just make sure that it's not configured for. So I'll just do the default configuration here. So that's 0. You can add as many items as you want. So when I go to my home node, I can go in and I can add the element type that was chosen. So because I've only got one element type selected, it pops up immediately. So that's kind of nice, but it's also almost an unnecessary action, especially if I only want to have one item allowed in there, right? So there really is no choice. You can't add multiple items, and clicking here is just an extra click, right? So what we can do now, which you couldn't do before, is we can go into our block list data type, and we can set it into single block mode. Now just note here that it says that you need to set it specifically to a minimum of 1 and a maximum of 1. So we'll just do that. Submit it here. And complaints down. But now you can see it actually has the item there already. I didn't have to add it or anything because it's one item and it's in single block mode. It's there by default. This is really useful if you're using element types for configuration settings and stuff like that, for example, that you always want to be present on a site and you want them to be really easily available. Of course, this works with both the draw, the slide in here on the side, or you could have inline editing as well. That all works just fine. So that's been added, and it's really, just a really nice feature, and it brings it. I think that's one of the last things that were kind of possible in nested content that wasn't in the block list editor. So that's really good to see it added as well. And I think last thing to mention here is also it changes the model. So instead of getting an enumerable list of blocks, you get a single item instead. So it takes care of that side of things as well, which is really nice. I think that does it for blocked list stuff. Next up is Sebastian.
Me.
Let's talk maintenance.
It's not me, actually. It's Elita who made all this possible.
Oh, nice.
Not maintenance, enabling two-factor auth. That the wrong order?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'll do it in the wrong order then. Sorry.
Yeah, that's perfect.
All right. So two-factor auth is available in Umbraco since V9 plus, and it's pretty easy these days, which is nice. So I have set up a site for auth somewhere. I just need to find the link to. Oh, here we have an intranet, a fake intranet. No, wrong one. Here we go. For which I need to log in. I'm already logged in. Let's just log out and see. Oh, log in again. And when I do that, I have to input my security code, which is on my phone somewhere, which would be the Google Auth app, and it is 287200. Okay, great. All good. If I edit my profile here, I can actually disable. It says Umbraco App Authenticator. I didn't give it a name, but it's Google Authentication or TOTP if you're technical about it. All good. But what if I am a member of your intranet and I have destroyed my phone by dropping it in the Copenhagen waters and I can't fish it out again and I've lost my actual Google Authenticator. In this case, you had no recourse. You had to dive into the database to actually disable this thing. So now we actually have on members, we have an option. Oops, over here to disable the two-factor auth requirement. That is available to people who have access to the members section and who are in the what's it called? The group called sensitive data. So that needs to be enabled. It's not just for anybody, only people who can access sensitive data, because this is sensitive. If you just randomly let people disable two-factor auth for other people, it's not a great idea most of the time. So be careful with who you give access to this. So when I go back to my profile here, then I can see that I need to set it up again. So it's been disabled for me by the administrator, and now I can regularly log in without being asked for my two-factor, and then I can set it up again by scanning.
Yeah, that's nice.
Over. Yeah, nice.
It's just so useful to be able to do that quickly within the back office, right?
Yes. Yeah, super. So yeah, we can help our members out, and we also this is good that only someone who has access to the back office can do it. They can ask the required security questions like, oh, are you sure? Are you the person who I think you are? And so on. So,
yeah.
All good.
Very nice. Okay. Warren, I think you have some updates on updated health checks.
Yes. So this comes from a community member. So let's take a look at the settings section and some health checks. So this is a bit of a hard one to demo fully. But I will click check all groups and click over to the security group. And Jason has updated this cookie hijacking and protocol downgrade check, or AKA this HSTS check. So basically, this security header shouldn't be present on localhost, and if it does, you could cause yourself some kind of issues when you're doing development for other sites. So this just shows us that if we're on localhost, that this check now passes. Previously, let's just jump back to this version and just compare. If I can move you guys out of the way. So if I go to here and go to health checks, and run the same checks. Where is it gone? Here you can say it's failed, and says like you should be adding this header, but you shouldn't really be adding this header to localhost. And if we click through to the read more, even on our docs, it talks about that you shouldn't really be using this. It should not be in when you're in development or in localhost. And even the .NET Core documentation, so if you go from there, it talks about this should only be used when you're not in development. So it's just a nice health check. So obviously it does a bit of an inverse of what it was doing what it was doing previously. So if you're running on localhost, it will say that the check is now passing because it's okay to not have this header. But if you're on any other domain that is not localhost, then the check or the health check will work as it did previously, and obviously tell you that you should add this header. So hopefully that made sense. A bit of inverse logic, but you can see how it works now. So it passes because we're on localhost.
Yeah, it's just really nice. It's kind of a in software documentation almost, right? Kind of teaching you how things should work, where they should be set, if it's done correctly on localhost or production environments and things like that. So
and it's
really
good.
Nice.
Like most of these health checks, we've got great documentation when you click these read more buttons. And you can see that. How would you, if it did fail, how would you enable HSTS? So you could see that in our startup class, we can just add this line here and then else from that, if else from the environment is development. So super simple, but nice quality of life improvement from Jason. So kudos.
Excellent.
And I will hand it back to you, Seb, to do the other demo that you were supposed to do, maintenance stuff.
Yes.
First things last, as they say.
All good. Maintenance page is something that's been requested for a long time, actually. When you are upgrading your Umbraco installs and you do not use unattended upgrades, then what used to happen for this release, for these two releases even, is that we would redirect everyone to the back office login screen or the upgrade installer login screen and say, you need to log in. Also, without any message as to why really, it just said upgrade installer or something like that.
That's for finalizing the upgrade, right? You need to authenticate.
So you need
basically.
to make sure that you have an admin who's actually present. So they need to log in and finalize the upgrade exactly. So in this update, we have updated this to show a website is under maintenance page. This page can be configured over here as well. You can have a custom page if you wanted to show something else than the regular whatever is going on here. It even says so over here. This page can be replaced, and that would be nice to make it specific to your customer look and feel, I guess. So how does this work? I need to fudge this a little bit. So I'm in the Umbraco source code and I've added an additional migration here. So that's something that is supposed to be happening between 11.0 and 11.1. Just to show you what it looks like, so I can have an actual page showing up. And of course now I'm screen sharing, so this will take a little bit of time to rebuild. And then you can just admire the new layout of JetBrains Rider. If you choose the beta new layout. All right, now website is under maintenance as showing. And then if I say handle the upgrade, I go to /Umbraco or whatever it's configured. And
so previously you would just go to this page though, wouldn't you? Anyone, exactly. So if you was the unlucky visitor visiting the live site and hit this page before the admin did, you could potentially be like, what's going on?
And then even better, this is configurable, so we can turn this off. So we can say false. We don't want to show the maintenance page. And in most cases, we hope maybe it will be fine. So I will show you what will happen in the new case.
It's actually quite interesting.
So previously, we would be upgrading. We would be showing the login for upgrading. Now, we don't show the maintenance page. Most sites will just show the regular front end as it was before. As long as we don't need to do anything with Umbraco APIs related, we should be fine, and we should just be able to display the site as it was. Mine doesn't look great because I've removed some styles, but our beautiful website is still available here.
It's very old school.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I think it's worth noting here that the last option is if you like you have a specific use case for this, you know, like essentially you know what you're doing, you know why you're doing this, because in most cases you don't want to have a site in an upgrade state for a long period of time. Yeah, exactly. It's better to go in and authenticate, get the upgrade finished, and then your site will be running just fine. But there can be use cases where it's nice to be able to disable this functionality.
Exactly.
And on the page you showed there was also a link to documentation. It's actually on the same page as the custom error codes page, the 404 page, and customizing it works in pretty much exactly the same way. So you can completely replace it with your own there, right? There's a nice little tutorial in there as well to see how you can do that. So really easy to do, and good nice stuff. Functionality, indeed. Okay, so I guess that wraps it up, demo-wise at least. There's a ton of stuff in other stuff in this release, as we mentioned, somewhere between 90 and 120 improvements and bug fixes, depending on the version you're looking at. Just get my browser up here. And of course, you can go in and check out the release notes, look at all the wonderful improvements and bug fixes, new features. I think it was, we mentioned Hacktoberfest, and it's like 50% of the stuff in these releases are
we still have a bit of a backlog,
right?
From Hacktober, so about 50% of these are actually things that were still open from Hacktoberfest, and the other 50% is just contributions that came in after that, or before that even. We also did some catch up on the older ones as well.
Fantastic to see. Such a great release.
We have about, what was it, 9 brand new contributors, because Hacktoberfest always yields a few new contributors, and 9 is a lot for a release. So it's really cool to see.
It's fantastic, and
it'll be in the
I
post.
think, definitely. I think it's also worth mentioning for the 10.4 release that, as we said, it includes the block grid editor. So that's one of the main reasons for releasing a new miner for that one. And while we don't have a demo in this unboxing, you can go back and watch the unboxing video for Umbraco 11. There's also a couple of talks available online, I think, now on the Umbraco community YouTube channel talking about the grid. There's a blog post out, the first part of our deep dive into the new block grid editor. In a couple of weeks, we'll have part 2, but and there's a really, really detailed documentation as well. So if you want to look into the grid and you're working on Umbraco 10 sites, there's plenty of information out there to help you get started with it.
There's also a NuGet package with an example grid. That's ones that both Warren and I showed you earlier as well. Which is really nice, because that's allows you to like look into how people would build a real block grid site, and you can copy paste from that. I've done that. Yeah. I mean, it really shows you how you can work with the more advanced features, implementing custom views and customizing the back office side of things specifically. Because I mean, it works really great, just like the old grid layout. Out of the box, you can do a lot with it. But if you want to add some extra features and a better experience in the back office, there's certainly a lot of options available there. Yep, there's a few moving parts, and it's really good to see how they all come together by looking at some examples.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll make sure to add the links in the description for the video as well, so people can follow those. You also mentioned contributors. 9 of them
the gun.
You did, but it's good. It's a very long segue, I guess. So there's a lot of contributors to these 2 releases. The list is very, very long, but we think they, at least the new ones, deserve a big mention and a big high five, you rock. So thank you very much to Jesse Andrews, Johnny Moore, Roy Barris, George Bitt, Jari Larsen, Dami Tukbobo, Simon Jansson, Christian Mørk, Sean Maloney, and all the other people who contributed to it. A big high five, you rock.
Five, you rock. And George Bitt, I found their name. It's Georgina Bitter.
Thank you very much, Georgina. I failed on that one, but well done for getting it in there, Seth. It'll be corrected in the blog post.
Yep.
Excellent. And with all of these great contributions also comes great trees, I guess. We've added a new plot to the Umbraco Forest for the 10.4 and 11.1 release. 65 new trees have been planted, helping us stay a little bit on the positive side of emissions and so forth. So really nice.
Yeah, I can't believe we already have 17,000 trees in our forest. That's cool.
Amazing. It's really cool to see in a couple of years. That's really nice. All right. I think that just about does it for this episode. Thank you very much for joining and showing off the new functionality.
No problem.
For everyone else, they are available now. You can get them on NuGet, of course, on Umbraco Cloud, both for your Umbraco 11 or 10 projects. If you want to run the LTS version, the latest version will be available, as well as upgrades for all existing sites. So good luck with the upgrades and the new features and testing it all out.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Thanks very much, guys, and see you in the next one.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye.